Today we're breaking down the indices on Monday, market recap, and some of those individual stocks like Bitcoin, SNH, Senior Housing Property Trust is underwater right now, guys, but we're going to jump all into this. Welcome back, passive income investors. Like today, I want to talk about that index, the SPY, the Vanguard 500 index are peaking all-time highs again, and everyone that said don't buy the dip, actually, you know what? It's kind of dark in here. There's actually a light switch behind here. Maybe, does that help? Give me a thumbs up if you like it a little bit brighter in here. Just like the markets, guys, I hope you've been enjoying this comeback and these rallies. It's been really awesome. This guy right here was buying the dips, and I was telling you all to buy the dips, but I don't know if you listened because you were listening to the paranoid nut jobs that thought the market was coming to an end. I bought MO, BTI, Bank of Montreal, what other ones? I think there was one more in there, Constellation Brands, and guess what? They're all up over 10%. In fact, I think BTI at its highest put me up 30% in less than 2 months. So when the market dips, maybe consider buying some of the dips. Because if you know me, I sold all my gold, guys, to buy those stocks. I literally liquidated like $15,000, $20,000 worth of gold at the beginning of the year and bought as many stocks as I could because, man, they were on discount mode. I don't want to talk about gold today. Gold, who cares? Gold hasn't done much. Literally, if you are a gold investor, guys, gold goes up about 2% a year. So we're just keeping up with inflation. Gold holds its value. It doesn't really increase its value. It's a way of thinking of it anyways. But let's talk about Bitcoin right now because Bitcoin is all fire and it is skyrocketing. Straight up, guys, not as up as much as the Bitcoin predictors want it to be because, I mean, even now they're still thinking it's going to be praying to be worth an arm and a leg because they're crazy, I think, in my opinion, guys. I'm not a Bitcoin fan, but man, if you bought it on those dips when it was sitting around that 3,500 CAD range, Canadian dollars, you'd be up quite a bit right now considering it's hovering over 5,000. But now all the Bitcoin, where they're like, we're going to go to $1 million, guys. Bitcoins are going to be worth over $1 million. Buy back in now while they're still cheap. Don't quote me on this. I just don't think long-term Bitcoins are going to sustain. I think the software and the back end, the blockchain of Bitcoin is going to hold up and it's valuable. Those ones and those zeros, got to bank them in our hard drives, guys, and hold on to them like they're diamonds and gold and, you know, because they're going to be worth billions of dollars one day. Like, they're just foaming at their mouths. It's so ridiculous when I will go on the Bitcoin forums, guys. I'm probably throwing up some words of them speaking as I over-exaggerate the way I think the Bitcoin trolls act, or the bulls anyways. So aside from Bitcoin, guys, let's maybe talk about some of the other markets. The marijuana markets right now aren't holding up very well. They're kind of stagnating and they're slowly going down, which is interesting because I hold MO and Constellation Brands, STZ, and those two companies are exposed to Kronos Group and Canopy Growth Corp, and they are actually doing insanely well this year. They're all up from when I bought them, but if you bought Canopy at the beginning of this year or any of those stocks, a lot of them are actually down. And the BC government actually called back their statement saying that the marijuana boom isn't going to be as fast as they anticipated because, again, a lot of illegal dealers out there, guys, hard to compete with. I think, honestly, over the next year, we're going to see marijuana kind of stagnate and fall off until we see it become federally legal in the U.S., along with the government actually pushing forward, opening more dispensaries and privatizing licenses until things become more available and more readily easy to buy the products and the prices start coming down to a reasonable rate. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot happen. There's actually a company right now, I got to look it up, that is literally producing grams cheaper than any other company. I think they're producing grams at like 60 cents per gram. They have some of the highest margins in the industry, and I think they sit I think they're in the top 3 largest distributors in Canada. They're one of the 3 dealers in Quebec. I'm probably throwing the name of it up here because I just can't remember right now. If you were in any marijuana stocks, maybe Men I've talked about in the past, they've been kind of flat. There's been a few. Planet 13's been on fire lately as well, but you can let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about that. Another individual stock we could talk about is SNH for them old folks retirement homes. That's a stock a lot of realtors, a lot of real estate investment trust people are into because of the high dividend yields, and right now it's paying an 18% dividend yield because the equity in the stock has tanked. This was a company I did a deep dive on. I'll leave the link in the description below. And it is not doing all that well, guys. I think they're moving some things around, running into some issues with some recontracting. These higher dividend-paying stocks, you really have to be careful if their yields, their dividend yields are reliable. Usually they come with fixed contracts depending on their setups. If they're loan-based, do they actually own the projects they're working on, or are they leased, or are they like a third-party company? There's a lot of things you got to look into when it comes to high-yielding REITs. I have a hard time buying any REITs. The only REIT I own right now is GEO Group because that is the only REIT that I know of ever in history that the whole economy could go bust. It doesn't matter what happens, there's always crazy people, and crazy people need to be locked up, and some of them are going to be locked up for life. And you, the taxpayer, are going to be paying for them to be there. So to some extent, I don't know whether the dividend could go up or down, but for some extent, there will always be an income coming from GEO Group. I just don't see that company ever disappearing. And I like that, especially with the whopping, 8 to 10% yield it offers. It's pretty absurd right now. Whether that is sustainable, I don't know. It depends on the budgeting that comes out, because their money is strictly comes from the government. Whereas with, senior housing property trust, the field that requires a lot of tenants, those tenants might be moving in and out depending on how old they are and what kind of, properties they're running. But I'll leave all that in the description below. Oh man, there's so much going on in the markets right now, guys. I don't even know where to begin. This is going to be a big earnings season. So, keep your ears open, especially if you own companies like Apple, Microsoft, all these massive, massive companies, guys. They're all going to be coming out with earnings. We're going to see a big explosion happen, because one of two things happens, especially right now in this time period, in this day and age in the market with this kind of volatility. So essentially, if we come out with good earnings, which is up in the air right now, we could see the stock market skyrocket into new highs, but at the same time, we could see it tank with this earnings season coming out. We got the banks coming out, guys, all the big tech companies, Amazon, Facebook. So prepare yourselves, lock your chair down, and get your ears open, especially if you're a shareholder in any of these companies, because whoo baby, she's going to be on fire. I'm probably going to wait till after earnings seasons to start purchasing more stocks. I do have a crap ton of money sitting around right now. I sold my Facebook shares this month, but I think I mentioned to you guys I made about a $600 profit. I got out at around 173, 174. I could have waited. Sure, could have waited. I got taxes to pay. That's coming up this week for me. And I don't know how much I owe the government. I've literally just started stockpiling cash. I think I have like $15,000 or $20,000 just lying around right now, waiting to see how much of the government's going to take of that. And then with the rest of it, some of it's going to get invested, and some of it's going to get invested into a side project that I'm personally working on, which I'm going to talk about in the next video. I might make that for tonight, or I might just release it tomorrow, guys. But I look forward to knowing what you think about this market, guys. Are you making any crazy returns? My portfolio is kind of just leveling out right now. It came down quite a bit, and now it's come up, and it's just kind of flatlining. There's not a whole lot going on that's interesting. But I'm still up. I think from my last review video, I think my last video on my stock portfolio, I was sitting right around 110,000, and now I'm over 113, which is going to change drastically, because again, it depends on how much I take out for my stocks and whatever else. Or it depends on how much I'm going to take out for my taxes. I want to know your passive income journey. If you are new to this channel, guys, I literally document my entire journey to financial freedom, because I think I can achieve it in the next decade, sometime in my mid-30s, and it all starts right here with this YouTube channel. So stay cool, stay awesome, guys. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow.